The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Medford, Oregon, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 39348. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. We'll get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Starting first at the front bumper, you'll find on the officer side your electronic siren. Just inside that location on the outside of the frame rail, dual air horns. Unit identifier 12 located in the center, along with paddle latches for dropping down for gaining access to the front hose storage location. Also a mechanical siren located on the driver's side. As we move up onto the officer side bumper extension, you'll find your fire bell, and then up onto the cab you'll find a marker turn indicator light on the outer edge. Just inside that location is the headlight structure housing low and high beam headlights. High beam is located on the inside. Directly above that is your emergency warning light cluster. Directly behind the Pierce logo is where you'll find the latch for opening the hood. And there are 3 windshield wipers across the seamless one-piece windshield. As we move to the A pillar, this is where you'll find your mirror housing a flat and convex mirror. Moving up to the brow of the apparatus, you'll find 5 identification clearance lights, and then also 2 forward-facing floodlights. Located up onto the roof is where you'll find your emergency warning light bar. Located inside the light bar in the center area is where you'll find your Opticom. Just slightly above the light bar is where you'll find the Go light, located in the center area and controlled from the officer side dash. Let's take a quick look at the full view of the apparatus, and we'll start looking now at the cab section from the driver perspective. Start first with your front axle, where you'll find a visual sight gauge into the center of the axle. As we move to the bumper extension, side-facing emergency warning light. Easily accessible with your gloved hand. These are your door lock and latch combination. They are keyed. Right next to that is where you'll find the grab handle for maintaining 3 points of contact for gaining entry or exit out of the cab. You'll also find at the very top section a side-facing scene light directly over the front axle. As we move toward the rear portion of the cab, D-handle gains you access into the storage location in the lower section of the body. And then just up from that, you'll find an emergency warning light. Just up from that, an air inlet. This is an auto eject. And then also a shoreline power, which is also an auto eject. When plugged into shoreline power, just above this is where you'll find your battery status center. Display information of your batteries. Further up to the very top is where you're going to find your LED water tank level indicator. Let's take a look at the midsection of the pump panel. We'll come back to this in great detail, but let's move on to the body section next. Starting first with the location of your folding wheel chocks, one in front, one in rear of the axle. And then as we move up, you'll find a side-facing emergency warning light just over the axle, and then to the rear of the axle is where you'll find your receiver hitch. Moving now up toward the top section is where you're going to find your rigid hose storage location for your drafting hose. There's also a side-facing scene light, and then toward the rear you'll find a emergency warning light 360 degrees. Let's take a look at the rear of the apparatus next. Let's start first with emergency warning light, brake, turn, and reverse light cluster on the passenger and driver side. There are also fold-down steps for gaining access to go aloft. In addition, you'll have 2 discharges located here at the rear of the apparatus, along with your traffic visor across the very back section just below the hose bed area. There is also a backup camera located on the upper left-hand corner, and then also to the right-hand side you'll find additional long-handled tool storage. As we move further up, you'll find an emergency warning light. And then also at the very top section, you're going to find a rear-facing scene light. And then moving up onto the top, as we previously mentioned, this is your emergency warning light at the very top section. Let's take a look at the passenger side of the vehicle, full view. Just a few things to note. This is the only difference on this side is your exhaust located just in front of the rear axle, and then also your ladder rack located at the top section. As we move on to the midsection, we'll come back to that in just a few moments. And then onto the cab section, slight differences here. You'll find a side-facing camera located at the front of the door. Let's take a look at the front bumper extension. And then as we move toward the center section, this is where the drop down and lift up location is located for the front discharge, which happens to be foam capable. Dry deck material on the lower portion. Let's take a look at the front grille, where you'll find behind the Pierce logo the release mechanism to open the hood area. When we gain access into the hood, we'll start first on the officer side, where you'll find your refill for your windshield wiper fluid. And then also as we move to the right side, you'll find the overflow for your radiator. This should be empty. And then moving to the right, you'll find on the back wall instructions and caution and danger information regarding cab tilt. A concealed switch located here for unlocking your 4 cab doors, and then also a remote which has a tethered remote for your cab tilt. At the protected switch location, this is for raise and lower, and then you'll also find your power steering fluid. There's a dipstick located here, and then also a visual sight gauge. Let's move around now to the driver's side of the vehicle. We'll start first with the door panel. Affixed to the door panel are safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch, and window control and a grab handle. As we move into the section here of the cab, we'll start first with the yellow placard. This is a placard indicating for Medford Fire Department. It has the date of manufacture, 5-digit job number, and gross vehicle weight rating, including cold tire inflation, VIN number, and all of the fluid capacities for each component, and also fluid type. As we move to about the left knee of the operator, you'll find this switch panel housing your engine and transmission ABS diagnostic port, tech module, and display module, along with your engine diagnostic, DPF regen inhibit, and also engine diagnostic switches. As we move to the front section of the cab into the steering wheel section, you'll find your vehicle is equipped with a supplemental restraint system. There is an airbag in the front steering wheel. You'll also find control here on the left and right for emergency warning lights, horn, and also windshield wiper control. As we move to the dash, you'll find on the left your 4-way flasher, start and ignition switch. Just inside, you'll find a switch labeled EM, which stands for Emergency Master. This will engage or disengage all emergency lights, along with your headlight and panel switch. On the opposite side of the column is where you'll find your OK to engage your high idle switch and indicator. As we move up to the dash cluster, you'll find your transmission, oil level, water temp, and DEF level. As we move to the right, you'll find your volts, fuel, front air, and rear air. In the center is where you'll find the tachometer and speedometer. Diagnostic information will display above and below the tachometer with the digital readout in the very center section. Let's move just to the right and take a quick look at a full preview of the dash area. Start first on the left-hand side with the yellow pull to apply your system parking brake. This is the rear spring brake activation. You'll also find a command zone located here, touchscreen, and also function button. Tremendous amount of information right here at your fingertips. Please see the owner's manual for more. You'll also find your push-button Allison transmission with an information note to pump in drive, along with your pump shift. Just as a reminder, you need 2 green indicators illuminating pump engaged and OK to pump before exiting the cab for pump operations. You'll also find driver cab scene, front scene, passenger side cab scene, driver side body scene, rear scene, and also body scene, passenger side. You do have a indication here for your exhaust temperature, and then also an engine brake on and off, settings for low, medium, and high, off-road traction, tire change, door locks, and then also a backup alarm disable. As we move up onto the top, you'll find mirror control for the flat and convex mirror for both passenger and driver. To the forward location, you'll find climate control for heat, air conditioning, and defrost. Let's take a look over the driver's seat, where you'll find this yellow placard indicating the height of the vehicle, 10 feet 1 inch, and also the length of the vehicle, 33 feet 6 inches. Gross vehicle weight rating, 49,800 pounds. If you make any adjustments to your vehicle that change or alter any of these, please update this placard for the operator. Let's move just to the right in the same plane area. you'll find your traffic advisor control module. Also, some switches are located just to the right of this area, where you'll find your emergency master, roof light, front warning, side warning, lower rear warning, and upper rear warning. Also, the Opticom is located here along with perimeter lighting. Let's move just to the right of this location to an additional switch panel. This is where you'll find a red siren brake for your mechanical siren, electronic siren, mechanical siren activation, air horn, load manager, mirror heat, tank not full. Just as a reminder, the green indicator illuminating around the edge indicating that the switch is active. Further to the right, you'll find your control module for your electronic siren and PA speaker system. Just a reminder, if you find this light flashing, do not move your apparatus. You may have a compartment or door open, including your ladder rack down. Moving now behind the driver's seat, you'll find the manual cab tilt. You'll also find a speaker here for your backup camera with volume control on and off, and then also your battery charger. When plugged into Shoreline power, the battery charger will become active, maintaining batteries. As we move, just a quick look here, we have 3 forward-facing seats that do house SCBA brackets. As we move to the exterior, you'll find a push button for unlocking the electric door locks. As we move inside, directly behind the driver's seat compartment here, dry deck material, LED lighting, adjustable shelf, and also 12-volt power located here at the very top section. As we move to the wheel, you'll find Michelin tires, steel wheel, and you'll find that visual sight gauge in the center of the axle. Let's move now to the rear portion of the cab. Let's start first with the door panel. Affixed to the door panel are safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch, window control, and a grab handle. Overhead, you'll find your air conditioning unit, also additional storage above and below. Paddle latch gains you access into these spaces here. Once again, there are the 3 seats across the back with fold-up lower sections. Looking now into the cabinet behind the driver's seat, directly overhead of the driver's seat to the rear. There's also 12-volt access inside that compartment. This is in between the 2 seats. In the lower section, you'll find access for your daily checks for oil and transmission. There is also 12-volt access via USB-A on the left side and also on the right side. This is facing the rear portion of the cab. As you move to the rear cab wall, you'll find additional storage. Moving now just under the center seat is where you'll find, under the pedestal area, additional storage here. Let's go ahead and move now exterior to the crosslay area. Let's start first on the rear cab with some details here. This is your auto eject airline inlet, Shoreline power auto eject. When plugged into Shoreline power, you'll have a digital display in the very top screen located here on this side. Now let's move into the pump panel area. We'll start first with your crosslays. Backboard storage in the forward section and dead lay into additional crosslays. Would like to point out entanglement hazard. Because the line's coming from aloft, there is the possibility of entanglement. As we start into the pump panel, this is your foam system module. Just to the right of this location, you'll find your fire pump intake. This is the primary, and then also your fire pump discharge. In between the two of those is an audible speaker. The outer edge of that bezel does rotate to either increase or decrease the sound level. To the right, you'll find the FRC pressure throttle governor. As we move further down onto the pump panel, all of our color-coded and labeled discharges. Just to point out, the red indicating on the edges, that is a foam-capable discharge. Electric valve here for your master stream device. And then also you'll find left and right 2.5-inch discharge. These are also foam-capable. Moving down, you'll find all of our 2.5-inch discharges and large diameter discharge, with a indicator light here indicating your foam level may be low. As we move further down, you'll find a warning here when climbing on or off the vehicle. Always face the vehicle. and then also your auto tank fill activation switch. We'll move slightly to the right on the pump panel. Once again, FRC, pressure throttle governor. Moving to the right, you'll find additional switches and also an OK to pump indicator. As we move just to the upper right corner, this is the vacuum and pressure test gauge ports. They're currently plugged in for testing purposes. Moving further down is the engine cooler and then also 3 electric valves. First to your left is your tank fill recirculating, water level gauge, the very bottom section tank to pump. Let's take back up to the top here where you'll find your electric valves here for the driver's main inlet and then also passenger main inlet and then a direct tank fill activation. Just underneath all of those electric switches is where you'll find the fire pump primer. And then let's move on to the next section in the lower section of the pump panel. We have two 2.5-inch discharges located within this space. You'll find also your minimum operation maintenance schedule. We'll come back to that in just a few moments. Couple of warning placards here. First, only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment. That's only after proper training. And then also a warning here regarding pressure hazard. Caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. 2.5-inch auxiliary inlet, locally controlled here at the ball valve. And then your large diameter pump inlet. Let's move just to the right of this location on the same level. At the very top upper right, you'll find the manual pump shift and then also the main pump drain. As we move down further on the pan door, you're going to find a warning placard here indicating do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam for the possibility of foam failure. This is the Husky 12 foam system specification and operating instructions. And then to the right, you'll find the foam fill drain location also. As we move to the very bottom section, you'll find an air inlet, air outlet, and a control valve. Underneath, you'll find the Watrous placard indicating the type of pump and GPM. As we move to the very bottom, all of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains, and then 2 pan doors. Let's take a look behind one of those real quick and identify what's back here. There is a placard on the door indicating for foam fill or for operation. That diagram matches the yellow handle just inside that location for either fill or for operational purposes. As we move down, this is your direct tank fill. And then also you have a storage location here for large diameter hose with seat belts for restraining. Foam drain and also foam pump intake drain and a reel rewind. We're going to move into the compartments. This would go relatively fast. We'll just identify a few items within the compartments. You have shoreline power and then also 12-volt access in this compartment. There is also a toolbox located, 4 drawers. Just in front of the rear axle, you'll find SCBA bottle storage for 3 SCBA bottles, retaining straps. Moving now to the rear axle, where you'll find your Michelin tire. As we move to the rear portion of the axle, fill location, ultra low sulfur diesel. That's the silver cap. As we move the flap downward, this will expose the DEF tank, which is a 6-gallon DEF tank with a blue cap. Just now moving to the rear of the axle, you'll find a warning, only direct pull should be utilized on the anchor point, and the anchor point is measured at 9,000 pounds for the allowable winch rating. And the receiver hitch just underneath that. As we move into the compartments now, we've got pull-out trays and then also a pull-out lower portion where the release on this is located on the lower right-hand side. All compartments are now open, just a quick visual. Let's go ahead and move around to the rear of the apparatus and we'll identify a few items within this space. Let's start first at the top with a scene light, emergency warning light, and backup camera and a fold down step. Also some warning placards here regarding fall injury. Never ride on the vehicle while it's in motion. Also, when climbing on or off the vehicle, always face the vehicle. You'll also find a warning placard here regarding pressure hazard. Be cautious when opening the caps, they may be under pressure. Let's move now to the hose bed dividers. They are adjustable. As we move to the lower compartment, you can see in the compartment pull-out tray in the lower section, and then also we have power located within this compartment. When shoreline power is plugged in, the outlet will become active. As we move to the right, you'll find long-handled tool storage located in the tool area. As we move around now to the passenger side, start at the top, we've got a couple adjustable trays, shelves, and trays that pull out in the lower section. We also have the receiver hitch located to the rear of the rear axle. Once again, 9,000 pounds direct pull. As we move now to the overwheel compartment, a tool board is located in this space. D-handle gains you access. When the tool board has been opened, it will lock into position. The release is located on the hinge side. You'll also find bottle storage here for 3 bottles with retaining straps. This is just to the rear of the axle. As we move forward of the axle, you'll find an additional SCBA bottle storage location with retaining straps here for 3 bottles. Just a quick reminder, extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures do exist. That's why we have this warning placard located here. Please be cautious where you park your vehicle, especially during a regen operation. As we move to the compartment directly above the exhaust, you'll find a pull-out tray and then also some adjustable shelves. In this compartment, we also have shoreline outlet. Let's move to the cross-lay area, pump panel. Start at the top with an entanglement hazard warning placard. Because of the booster line and then also the cross lays, we have the possibility of entanglement. We also have backboard storage in the upper portion and then 3 loads here, including the dead load. Moving now into the pump panel area, we'll find first a recessed area. This is where the powered equipment rack is located. There is some caution and danger placard information along with instruction for its operation, including a warning here regarding fall hazard. As we move inside behind the pump panel here, you'll find your strainer and then also your hydraulic equipment rack reservoir. It's going to be the white plastic reservoir located in the upper left-hand corner. As we move down, you'll find your relief valve located just inside the pan door. Across the bottom, you'll find a direct tank fill and then also a drain for that direct tank fill. Additional warning here regarding pressure hazard. Be cautious when opening or closing. Caps may be under pressure. Across the very bottom section, color-coded and labeled discharge drains. As we move to the pump panel lower section in the running board area, you'll find a storage location for your large diameter intake. At the very bottom section, reel, rewind, and manifold drain. Just under this, you'll find a placard regarding your water as pump indicating the GPM 1500. Minimum operation maintenance schedule for 150, 200, and 250 psi. We're now back to the cab section. As we move into the cab area, at the rear portion of the cab, you'll find a VIX to the door panel, safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch and window control, along with a grab handle. Quick view just inside, overhead, push on and off white or red lens lights, and then also your air conditioning unit and AM/FM radio speakers. General view into the rear portion of the cab, 3 seats across the rear wall, additional storage in the forward section. As we move to the overwheel compartment in the front axle area, adjustable shelf, LED lighting, 12-volt access. Moving now to the front axle, where we find that visual sight gauge into that front axle, and once again, Michelin tires. As we move to the officer space, let's start first with the door panel, affixed to door panel, safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch and window control, and a grab handle. As we move inside this space, you'll find your vehicle is equipped with a supplemental restraint system, an airbag in the front bolster. This is the indication marking where that airbag is at. Please do not mount anything within this area. Also 12-volt access and an air horn push button, barrel style and USB-A, along with shoreline outlets located in the forward section officer side.
As we move to the forward section, directly in front of the officer, you'll find your AM/FM weather band radio. And now let's take a look with all compartments open on the passenger side, in addition with your ladder rack down. As we move to the ladder rack, you'll find a 24-foot extension ladder, a 14-foot roof ladder, and a 10-foot attic ladder. Let's move up onto the top section. First, we'll start with the dunnage area. This is a walking surface. It's identified with these yellow indicators marking the edge of the walking surface. As we move to the top fill water tank, you'll also find on the foam tank itself, we do have a warning placard here regarding do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam for the possibility of foam failure. Your vehicle is equipped with an extend-a-gun. This is the placard indicating the use of that. Also, as we move to the foam system, this is the reservoir. There is a close valve in the very top section, and then also a visual sight gauge on the face of the tank. As we move to the top section of the dunnage, you'll find electronic control here for the valve for opening and closing the master stream device, top side, and then also a booster line on the driver's side. As we move to the front cab area, this is considered a non-walking surface, and that's why we have these placard indicating that for fall injury. Let's take a quick look toward the rear of the apparatus, where you'll find storage location for two 10-foot rigid hose. This is for your drafting tubes. We'll now move into chassis and body photos from underneath. There'll be no additional audio from this point on. Congratulations, Medford, Oregon, on your new Pierce fire apparatus. If you have any questions, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.